Hey everybody, this is Perch. Two pieces of news in terms of new series. And I feel like the PR and the marketing for DC, it drives me insane. And I know I'm a broken record and people are probably way tired of hearing about this, but when you're launching a new line, you have some new titles, the way these things are slipping out are just very peculiar. It seems like there's no real clear, consistent order or plan for any of this stuff. It just kind of leaks out randomly, and you just hope that other people are doing it. So there's two series to announce, both I think pretty critically important for DC and the universe and their future plans. So first, we have a new ongoing series starting in May called Future State Gotham. Now, this is the first series that is actually set in the Future State world. So this is going to be picking up on the Gotham short story that has been going on in the next Batman. And it's the theme here is that the Red Hood is working for the magistrate as part of their zero tolerance policy on mass vigilantes. It will be dating or have some kind of relationship with Ravager. This is going to be written by Josh Williamson and Dennis Culver. Art by Giannis. I'm not even going to try it. Milano Giannis. I apologize, Giannis. That's a crazy name to anyway. Cool. So an ongoing series, Future State Gotham, and it's going to be all about Jason Todd and are trying to capture Tim Fox and all these other pieces. So Future State Gotham, this is the first ongoing series coming out in May. It's going to be in comic shops. Also out on digital like everything else, but it is a printed issue. It's going to be, this is kind of an interesting piece. It's being advertised at $3.99, which is curious. And then a cardstock variant for $4.99, but $3.99 is the price they're setting. That's encouraging, I have to say. But this is basically, this is the first comic to really continue the Future State story exactly as we're seeing it right now in Future State. Now, why are they doing this? Well, again, this may go against the narrative, but Future State is selling better than DC anticipated. I don't know what their original estimates were. I don't know what they thought they were getting, but DC was surprised by needing to go to second printings on some of these things. Now, here, this is where please listen carefully, especially if you're one of those people who immediately runs into the comments and wants to talk about how shitty everything is. Yes, it is true that if DC planned, say, to sell 100 issues, which would be a very small amount, and then they sold 105 issues, it is effectively sold out. And if there's more demand, they go back to second printing. I do think the volumes and the expectations for Future State were very low. I think that because that's what I've heard from people at DC consistently, that they were not expecting heavy orders on things, and they were surprised that the orders were heavier than they thought. This does not mean that the comic is selling hundreds of thousands of copies. It doesn't mean that at all. And nobody is saying that, or nobody serious is saying that. But the Future State books have sold better than DC anticipated. They anticipated low, and they're selling above that expectation. You can take that any way you want. You can take it as, nobody should expect things to sell low. You should take it as good news or bad news. I don't know. That's up to you. You do what you want. But the too long didn't read here is that DC Future State has outperformed their expectations, which were low. And so therefore we're getting second printings, and we're also getting DC greenlighting series like this one, which is Future State Gotham, which is going to continue the Gotham storylines in an ongoing book starting in May. So that's good news. A brand new printed comic in May coming out of DC. The second title coming from DC that is interesting, and this is one you could have seen coming a little bit. So Infinite Frontier Zero is coming out in March, and it's a big kind of anthology comic, and it's got a bunch of people attached to it. It's got, take a deep breath here, a Justice League story by Brian Michael Bendis, a Batman story by James Tynion, a Wonder Woman story by Becky Cloonan, a Wonder Girl story by Jolie Jones, Green Lantern by James Tynion, This is an Alan Scott story. A Teen Titans Academy story by Tim Sheridan. Superman by Philip Kennedy Johnson. Green Arrow and Black Canary by Josh Williamson. Stargirl by Jeff Johns. Green Lanterns by Jeffrey Thorne. And The Flash by Josh Williamson. And apparently there's one or two surprises in there as well that we haven't got to. But anyway, this big comic, Infinite Frontier Zero, coming out in March. And what we've now heard is that Infinite Frontier #1 is coming out in July. And this is coming out in print. We do not yet know if this is going to be a big anthology kind of comic, but it's intending to at least pick up on some of the threads from the Zero issue. I've heard a lot of things. So I've heard that this is an ongoing comic, but it's shipping quarterly, not monthly. I've heard that it's shipping every other month. I've heard they're going to print it as long as there's interest, and it can stop at any time. I have no idea what the actual truth here is for Infinite Frontier. All I do know is in July, DC is printing comics, and they are printing this one. And this is continuing the Infinite Frontier story, and it's continuing this future state of what the DC universe is going to be. I shouldn't use the word future state because DC has a future state. Hopefully you get what I mean. It's setting the groundwork for the series. Now, what's the good news, bad news takeaway from all this? The good news is DC is still soliciting titles. They're still putting things out. They're still remaining committed to print. So there's still comics coming. And there seems to be a wider net that they're casting a little bit in terms of the stories they're going to tell and kind of the things that they're going to do. The bad news is that it still is very haphazard in how they're putting this stuff out, how they're promoting it, what's coming out. And they haven't yet gotten to a good baseline with their customers where people can say, okay, I have a good sense of what DC is trying to do. I understand the direction of their line. I understand what they're where it's all going and what they're doing. They haven't got that. So far, it seems way too random. And I think that unless they can get their arms around that and quick, then it's just going to be bad for them. You don't want to leave your customers confused. If you leave them confused, they tend to not buy as much. If they don't buy as much, your market share slips, and then you do run the risk of having to draw back your line further, and then that all the predictions about DC being in trouble and everything else start to come true. You need to give your customers certainty about what they can expect, and it still seems broken there. And I can't completely figure out why it's broken, but there's just a lot of miscommunication and a lot of just very, very random messages being sent. So hopefully DC can start to wrap their arms around it. They seem to just continue to get stuck into very just the weirdest controversies, like are they changing Black Adam's name? And this story, continue. It's the weirdest stuff. I do not get. I just don't get it. It seems like, especially if you're starting off a new line, you wouldn't be having stories like Shazadam, or Shazadam, or whatever, however you want to pronounce Shazadam. It's stupid. By the way, they're not going to call him Shazadam. I see some members of the Justice League making a joke about, it's Shazadam as a annoying nickname to give Black Adam that he dislikes, and that's part of the weird banter that Bendis decides to throw into Justice League. I can totally see that. Absolutely. Are they going to rename the character to Shazadam? No, that is dumb. And everybody who was reporting on that story knows that's dumb. But it's fine. This is the world we live in. At any rate, this is what we have coming. So lots of 2 new titles. Future State Gotham, which, as I said, is intriguing because it's the first ongoing series coming out of Future State. And then, as a lot of people suspected, a proper Infinite Frontier #1, which is either a limited series or an ongoing series or an anthology or a one-off or who knows, coming in July is that timing. So anyway, there you go. That's what we have from DC coming up, some new comics. So the question is, what do you think? First of all, are you excited about either of those titles? Are you going to be buying Infinite Frontier 0? Are you excited to see the Future State storyline with the Magistrate and Red Hood Jason Todd continuing? Would you buy it? And then also, are you like me in that you're really hoping that at some point they can pull the different threads together and give you a consistent message about what their products are? Is that something you want as well? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Follow me on social media anywhere you want. And if you look in the description of this video, you'll see all the links to do that. And thanks for listening.